Namo Buddhaya. Good morning to you, to the early birds who had locked in early. Well done. You may start wishing each other good morning, sadhu to everybody. Share this segment with your family by going through an external speaker or screen it over your smart TV. This morning we are going to talk about the songs by the Buddhists, which we had featured in the previous weeks. We will also play those songs again. The first song is Nothing Stays the Same Forever. To me, it is a very pleasant music. It is contemporary. The Buddhists add in rap in certain parts of the song. Well, many of us, look at myself, never imagined we can introduce rap in these songs. It is much appealing to, especially to the young crowd. With this upbeat music and with its rap in certain important parts of the song, it catches the attention of the listeners. Listeners paying attention to the lyrics, and as they sing along, as a result, listening and being reminded of the Dharma. I had look at the lyrics. I like to highlight certain parts of it. He mentioned on impermanence and the cycle of rebirth. He mentioned it's part of our life. You gotta be prepared. You see the world go round in the cycle of life, where life and death happens to things that we care about. Change can be scary, but don't be afraid. We must accept the truth. There is change. As He will give us freedom, is the wonder of our life. So embrace your life, accept the change, accept the truth. With these changes, it makes the world a better place. Like what the Sutta teaches us on the Four Noble Truths. On impermanence. Remember, nothing is permanent. We are born, grow old, get sick, and pass away. We have to accept the truth. We have to accept that nothing is permanent, and it goes on. Brothers and sisters, when we play the song afterwards, the song Nothing Stays the Same Forever, do pay attention, follow the lyrics, and sing along if you can. Now, over to the song Nothing Stays the Same Forever.
From Banda Utama Buddhist Society, and this is Nothing Stays the Same Forever.
Nothing stays the same forever. Our lives can be something better. Yeah. Endings will be new beginnings. There's a time and place for everything. You need to know. Truth is, we live in this world where space and time rules.
cycle of rebirth, it's a part of our life. So you gotta be prepared, you see the world goes round in the circle of life, where life and death happens to things we care about. Change can be scary, but don't be afraid, as it gives us freedom. It's the wonder of our lives, so embrace your life, accept the changes. With the changes, make the world a better place.
Stays forever, stays forever.
Once you understand this, I think you're ready. So come hold my hand and together we will sing.
Nothing stays the same forever. Our lives can be so much better. Oh, 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 oh. Yeah. Endings will be new beginnings. There's a time and place for everything. You need to know. Oh, oh, oh. Whoa, oh, oh, oh. Whoa, oh, oh, oh. Whoa, oh, oh, oh. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Whoa, oh, oh, oh. Whoa, oh, oh, oh.
Come on,
Whoa, oh, oh, oh.
let's go.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Nothing stays the same forever. Our lives can be so much better. Whoa, oh, oh, oh.
All these changes,
Yeah,
it'll happen.
endings will be new beginnings. There's a time and place for everything.
Yeah.
You need to know.
Wonderful song. Well, lot of good Dharma message in there. Now let us go to the next song. The name of this song is Pass It On. This song talks about the Dharma and the qualities of our teacher, Buddha. Buddha teaches us on compassion to all beings. Buddha asked the disciples to spread the Dharma, pass it on, go forth to preach the Dharma. No two monks are to go together. Dharma, let's pass it on. You have learned the Dharma from many teachers, Dharma sharing from Dharma speakers, from Dharma books. Now, over the online Dharma sharing, there's so many of it. Do your part to pass the messages of the Dharma in whatever way. You can let them know where it's available. Example, the online Sunday Dharma sharing over the Facebook of Subang Jaya Buddhist Association. Pay attention to the keywords or sentences mentioned about the Buddha's wisdom. It stays on. Let us keep it. Buddha's love, spread it. And there are gifts from Buddha. Share the Dharma with your family. Share it with friends. Share it with all beings. Talking about the compassion flow. Buddha's teachings goes on and on. Together, let us pass it on. Brother and sister in the Dharma. Let's hear from this song, Pass It On. Follow the lyrics, sing along. Over to the song.
Pass it on, pass it on. Let the Buddha's wisdom stays on. Pass it on, pass it on. Let the Buddha's love spreads on. There is a gift from Lord Buddha. I like to share it with my family, share it with all my friends, and take it round the world and share it with all beings. Pass it on,
It was such a beautiful music, especially with the violin. Pass it on. Let the Buddha's teaching goes on and on. It's really with the wonderful Dharma messages. Brothers and sisters, we as lay people are able to do our part to spread the Dharma. There are many ways you can do your part. Just like the young group Buddy Saints have done their part. Do support all the Buddhist music groups. Visit their Facebook, Spotify, etc. You can share Subang Jaya Buddhist Association events with your family members. They will then pass it on, the information to their friends via their own Facebook. Encourage the young to come forward to support the Buddhist societies. Play the event in your living hall. Play over your smart TV. Pass on the online Sunday Buddha Puja service and this segment, Voices of Bloom's information to your family, relatives, and friends. So they, in turn, will watch together with their families. This means you are passing the Dharma, passing on, and introducing the Dharma to those who have a bit of dirt in their eyes. Later, after the puja, we will hear the Dharma sharing by Brother Chim, where he will be sharing with us. We should do our part to share the Dharma to all. With the Dharma, we will all learn the qualities of the Buddha's teaching. Example, compassion. Compassion to all beings, to everyone. If we were to do that, practice that, there will be peace and with loving kindness in us and to all. Please stay back. After this segment, we will continue with our online Sunday Buddha Puja service. See you again. We end this segment of Voices of Blooms. Namo Buddhaya, brothers and sisters in the Dharma. A very good morning to everyone. Nice to see you again on another Sunday over Subang Jaya Buddhist Association Facebook and YouTube Live. Do check on your Wi-Fi reception. If you encounter problem with your audio and visual, it may be just due to your poor Wi-Fi reception. During this online Buddha Puja service, remember to have a calm mind. Even if you are encountering the problem, do join us in the chanting. Namo Buddhaya, brothers and sisters in the Dharma. Welcome again to those who have just joined us, and this is the 48th online Sunday Buddha Puja service. We organize this weekly online puja service in order to give an opportunity to Buddhist devotees near and far to continue with our Buddhist faith and practices and continue to listen to the Dharma sharing during this COVID-19 period. Please make use of the comment box if you have to wish each other and to the speaker for this morning. Continue to share with your family on this online puja service. Brothers and sisters, in the Dharma, let us prepare ourselves by sitting comfortably, relax our bodies and compose our mind. Let go of thinking about the past and future and be in the present moment. I shall now hand over to Puja leader, Sister Anne. Over to you, Sister Anne.
Thank you, Brother Chuan. Good morning, brothers and sisters in the Dhamma. Let us begin with our Sunday Buddha Puja. May we invite Brother Jim to make the offerings to the Buddha. Brothers and sisters in the Dhamma, if you have prepared the offerings at home, you may also light your candles or oil lamps and make your offerings to the Buddha. For the other devotees, let us fold our palms together in Anjali and contemplate mindfully. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. 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 Brothers and sisters in the Dhamma, let us pay homage to the Triple Gem. Buddhang pujemi, Dhammang pujemi, Sanghang pujemi. Brothers and sisters in the Dhamma, let us together take refuge in the Triple Gem and observe the 5 precepts. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Buddhang saranang gacchami, Dhammang saranang gacchami, Sanghang saranang gacchami. Dutiyampi Buddhang saranang gacchami, Dutiyampi Dhammang saranang gacchami, Dutiyampi Sanghang saranang gacchami. Tatiyampi Buddhang saranang gacchami, Tatiyampi Dhammang saranang gacchami, Tatiyampi Sanghang saranang gacchami. Panatipata veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami. Adinna veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami. Kami sumiccacara veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami. Musavada veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami. Suramiraya macha pamadattana veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami. Imani pancha sikkhapadani samadhiyami. Imani pancha sikkhapadani samadhiyami. Imani pancha sikkhapadani samadhiyami. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Iti piso bhagava arahang samma sambuddho vichacharana sampanno sugato lokavidu anuttaro purisa dhammasarati satta deva manussanang buddho bhagavati. Swakato bhagavata dhammo sandittiko akaliko ehi passiko oppanayiko pacchattam veditabbu vinyuhiti. Supatipanno bhagavato savaka sangho Ujupatipanno bhagavato savaka sangho Nyayapatipanno bhagavato savaka sangho Samicipatipanno bhagavato savaka sangho Yadidang chattari purisa yugani atta purisa puggala esa bhagavato savaka sangho ahuneyo pahuneyo dakineyo anjali karaniyo anuttarang punyakaitam lokasati. Vandami chetiyang sabbang sabbatane supatititang saririka dhatu mahabodhi buddha rupang sakalam sada. Yasamule nisinnova sabbari vijayang aka pato sabbanyutang satta vande tang bodhipadapang. Ime ete mahabodhi lokanatena pujita aham pite namasami bodhi raja namatute. Ganasarapaditena dipena tamadansina tiloka dipang sambuddhang pujayami tamonudang. Ganda sambara yuttena dupenahang sugandhina pujaye pujaniyang tang puja bhajana uttamam. Vanna ganda gunopetang etang kusuma santating pujayami munindassa siripada saruruhe. Pujemi buddhang kusumena nena punyena mittena jahotu mukkang puppang milayati yata idang me Kayo tatayati vinassa bhavang Adivasetu no bante paniyang parikapitang anukampang upadaya patigan hatu muttamang Kayena vacha chittena pamadena maya katang Acayang kamame bante buripanya tathagata Kayena vacha chittena pamadena maya katang Acayang kamame dhamma sanditika akalika Kayena vacha chittena pamadena maya katang Acayang kamame sangha supatipanna anuttara Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu
Brothers and sisters in the Dharma, our Dharma speaker today is Brother Chim Siu-chun. Allow me to introduce the speaker. Brother Chim is the founder member of Subang Jaya Buddhist Association and was the president of the association from 1992 to 2019. Brother Chim is also a founding member of and also the past president of the Theravada Buddhist Council of Malaysia, TBC, which was registered in 2012 to unite the Theravada Buddhist community in Malaysia and to work with the other national Buddhist organizations to safeguard the overall interests of the Malaysian Buddhists. He is now the deputy president of the Selangor Buddhist Development Council. Brothers and sisters in the Dharma, in this talk, if you have any questions regarding the sharing, please type your questions in the comment box. We shall post your questions to Brother Chim after the talk. However, due to time constraint, we may not be able to handle all the questions. We shall now invite Brother Chim to share the Dharma with us with the title, Go Forth, Preach the Dharma. Over to you, Brother Chim.
Thank you, Brother Chuan. Namo Buddhaya. Brothers and sisters in the Dharma, good morning, Sukhi Hontu. The title for today's Dharma talk is Go Forth and Preach the Dharma. Next, please. In the Mahavaka, which is one of the 5 books in the Vinaya Pitaka, I think you're familiar with the Tipitaka, isn't it? The Tipitaka consists of 3 Pitaka or 3 baskets. The Sutta Pitaka, the Vinaya Pitaka, and the Abhidhamma Vipitaka. And each of the Pitaka consists of many books, out of which the Vinaya Pitaka consists of 5 books. So in one of the book called Mahavaka, the Buddha say, "Go forth, O bhikkhus." He told the monks, the 60 Arahant disciples, he say, "Go forth, O monks, for the good of the many, for the happiness of the many, out of the compassion for the world, for the benefit, for the good, for the happiness of gods and men. Let not two go by one way. Preach the Dharma that is excellent in the beginning, excellent in the middle, and excellent in the end, both in the spirit and in the letter." Notice that there are few keywords here. go forth, preach the Dharma in the spirit and in the letter. That's to say, to go, not just to wait, go forward and go and preach this Dharma or teach this Dharma, but not just in words. Letter means words, not just in words, but also in the spirit, in the right attitude manifested in action, in compassionate actions. That's to say, not just talk, but also you must have action in compassion. All right. So this was a call by the Buddha, a very loud and clear call, a clarion call by the Buddha to 60 Arahant disciples 2 months after his enlightenment to go and spread the Buddha Dharma for the good, for the benefit, and for the happiness of the many. And this is a mission the Buddha set for his disciples. That is to learn, to cultivate, to realize the Dharma, and then go forth to preach this Dharma with others in both the spirit and in the letter, so that they also can learn, can practice, and realize the Dharma. The Buddha hence started the first missionary movement in this world about 2,600 years ago. Subsequently, the Buddha sent more and more of his monastic disciples to teach the Dharma. What's the purpose of teaching the Dharma? Or what is the purpose of learning the Dharma? The purpose of learning the Dharma is to gradually overcome suffering and eventually to be able to totally eradicate our suffering. So the Buddha sent out his disciples to propagate the Dharma so that more and more people can gradually learn and practice the Dharma and eventually and gradually overcome their sufferings. The teachings of the Buddha eventually reached many parts of the world to many, many people. Many of his lay disciples, after receiving the gift of the Dharma, also helped to spread the Dharma in the spirit and in the letter, not just with words, but also in one's attitude manifested by compassionate action, just like the Buddha himself did during his 45 years of ministry. That's why the Buddha say, one who see the Buddha see the Dharma, and one who see the Dharma see the Buddha. With both the monastic disciples as well as the lay disciples going forth and preach the Dharma, more and more people receive this gift of the Dharma. The Buddha's goal was to develop a community of disciples, monastic and lay devotees who were well educated in the Dharma, who practiced it fully, and who taught it and learned it from one another. Of all the lay disciples of the Buddha, the famous lay disciples of the Buddha in helping to propagate the Dharma was Chitta and Hataka. Next, please. In one of the sutta, the Buddha say, should a devoted mother wish to encourage her beloved only son in a proper way, she should say to him, try to become like the disciple Chitta and the disciple Hataka of Alavi. The Buddha say, if a mother wants to encourage her son to follow a role model, someone that the mother should be proud of, the mother should encourage the son to become like Chitta and Hataka. If we have time afterwards, I would like to tell you the story of Chitta and Hataka, our brothers and sisters in the Dharma. We are very fortunate to have the blessings to receive the gift of the Dharma, to be the good disciples of the Buddha, and to be the worthy heir of the Dharma as taught by the Buddha. It is our duty and also a blessing to give this gift of the Dharma to others. It is a mission of a Buddhist to learn, to cultivate, and to realize the Dharma as taught by the Buddha, and also share this Buddha Dharma with others, so that more people can also practice and eventually realize the Dharma. We can also help to share this Buddha Dharma with our relatives and friends directly or indirectly to come to the Vihara to learn the Dharma. SJBA members are receiving a WhatsApp message every morning of what the Buddha taught as recorded in the Nikayas, in the suttas. You can also help to forward your relatives, these messages to your relatives and to your friends. By doing so, you are helping to share the gift of the Dharma. You can also take some Dharma books from SJBA Dharma Corner for free distribution. Our sister Louis has arranged these Dharma books for free distribution in SJBA in a very orderly and systematic manner in our Dharma Corner. That itself is also helping to share the Dharma with others. By taking some copies and give to your friends, you're helping to share or propagate the Dharma. Brother Chuan, as you know, headed this organizing team, a digital Dharma team, to organize this Sunday Puja and for this Dharma talk. And our digital team members, Brother Ye, Brother Alfred, our Sister Anne, and the others are using this StreamYard to broadcast this talk right now, live, to our members via Facebook or YouTube. So all of them are also working very hard to help to propagate the Dharma. And you know, our Sunday Dharma School, our principal, our coordinators, our teachers are all working very hard to give this gift of the Dharma to hundreds of children in our Sunday Dharma School all these years, and even now during this COVID-19 pandemic. And they are conducting the Sunday Dharma School online right now. Over all these years, thousands of children have received the gift of the Dharma with the seeds of the Dharma planted in them. Over the years, many of our members and devotees, in one way or another, also help to spread the Dharma in a spirit of action, in compassion, to help those who are in need, the very poor, the sick, the dying, the bereaved, and also the inmates of the old folks' homes, victims of the natural disasters, and etc., in line with what the Buddha himself did to help those in need during his 45 years of ministry. So this, in a way, following the Buddha clarion call to go forth and preach the Dharma, both in the spirit and also in the letter, not just only in words, but also by action. But have we done enough as a community? No doubt our members and devotees collectively have together done quite a lot, but certainly there are a lot more that we should have done, we could have done, and we should be doing. Not all our members and devotees are involved in giving this gift of the Dharma to others. Some of us are still receiving and not yet be a giver. We should be a giver and not just a recipient. For those who have been a recipient of the Dharma, hopefully you will also go forth to share the Dharma in the spirit and in the letter with others directly or indirectly. Even though, unlike other religious followers, Buddhists seldom go out to aggressively convert others to change their religion, especially using unethical evangelical methods. It is still a duty of Buddhist practitioner to give the gifts of the Dharma for others, so that more people will learn and practice and realize the Dharma for a better world and for a more conducive world around us, conducive also for our own personal cultivation. The Buddha taught for 45 years on different topics, on different occasions, many different occasions, to many different people. Therefore, he taught a lot, and his teachings, when compiled eventually into written form, consist of many books in the 5 major collections called Nikayas, which themselves consist of many books. With our limitations in time, learning capacity, and understanding, what are the essential teachings of the Buddha we should at least know, or at least know and how to share with others. The central teachings of the Buddha, of course, is the Four Noble Truths, discovered by the Buddha by penetrating the Paticca Samuppada, or dependent origination, and closely linked to the Four Noble Truths is the doctrines of karma and rebirth, and all this were fully realized by the Buddha on the night of his enlightenment. Next, please. On the night of his enlightenment, Siddhartha Bodhisattva, or our Buddha to be, was all alone sitting on a seat of grass below a Bodhi tree about 2,600 years ago. I think all of you know about this, and I won't go into the details, but just a brief mention will refresh our memory. On the night of his enlightenment, the Bodhisattva was all alone sitting in meditation underneath the Bodhi tree, and as evening descended, a tremendous struggle in the mind of the Bodhisattva began. He was struggling against the defilements of greed, hatred, and delusion, which has been in his dormant mind for a long, long time, allegorically described in some Buddhist texts as the temptation of Mara. After overcoming the temptation of Mara, the Bodhisattva entered deeper and deeper into deep mental absorptions or concentration, in which his mind was perfectly calm and still and concentrated. And then the realization of wisdom began to unfold. And this took place over 3 watches of the night. I think you know that in the past, the people, they don't have clocks. And so they divide the time and night into 3 parts. The first part or the first watch of the night is somewhere between 6 a.m. to about 6 p.m. to about 10 p.m. And then from 10 p.m. to about 2 a.m. And then from 2 a.m. to about 6 a.m. So these are 3 parts or 3 watches of the night. So in the first watch of the night, that's from about 6 p.m. to about 10 p.m., the Bodhisattva recalled back all his past life. He saw himself again and again in the innumerable world cycles, going through birth, aging, sickness, and death, with different names, different forms, sometimes as humans, sometimes as animals, sometimes as deities, and etc. Different relations, everything changing, transient, as he went one life after another. So he recalled back his past life, life after life, one past life, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 100, 1,000, 10,000, 100,000, and so on and so forth of his past life. He saw how the world was formed and how the world was destroyed, going through many cycles of world contraction and expansion. The Bodhisattva clearly recall his past life and understand the doctrine of karma and rebirth and the nature of our universe. We can read all about all this in the Majjhima Nikaya, Sutta number 36, that is the Maha Saccaka Sutta. Next, please. In this sutta, Sutta number 36 of the Majjhima Nikaya, called the Maha Saccaka Sutta, the Buddha say, when my mind was thus concentrated, purified, bright, unblemished, rid of defilements, pliant, malleable, steady, and attained to imperturbability, I directed it to the knowledge of recollecting my past life. I corrected my manifold past life, 1 birth, 2, 5, 10, 50, 100,000, 100,000, and many eons of cosmic contraction and many eons of cosmic expansion, many eons of cosmic contraction and expansion. And there I had such a name, belonged to such a clan, had such an appearance. Such was my food, such was my experience of pleasure and pain, and such the end of my life. Passing away from that state, I re-arose there. There too I had such a name, belonged to such a clan, and had such a appearance. Such was my food, such was my experience of pleasure and pain, such the end of my suffering. Passing away from that state, I arose. Thus I remember my manifold past life in their most and details. This was the knowledge, the first knowledge I attained in the first watch of the night. So the Buddha himself is the greatest authority on the doctrine of karma and rebirth, because the Buddha himself saw when his mind was so powerful, the mindfulness is so powerful, and his concentration was so deep. On that night, he recollect back all these thousands of past life and saw how rebirth took place, influenced by his past karma. And then he taught us this doctrine of karma and rebirth, which form our preliminary right understanding. I think you are familiar with the Noble Eightfold Path. Right speech, right action, right livelihood, right effort, right mindfulness, right concentration, right understanding, and right thoughts. Right? So it started off with right speech, sila, samadhi, and panya. But for all practical cultivation, for the purpose of cultivation, it must start with at least a preliminary right understanding of the law of karma and rebirth. And then eventually, as one cultivates himself higher and higher, he attained also the ultimate right understanding of the the Four Noble Truths. Right? So this is what the Buddha saw, the doctrine of karma and rebirth, in the first watch of the night. In the second watch of the night, the Buddha Satta developed the divine eye. He was able to look at the world and saw the rising and passing away of all sentient beings. He saw how beings took place in their accordance with their own karma, how they reap good or bad results of the actions. He saw the world evolve, develop, deteriorated, and eventually totally destroy, arising and passing away in a series of world expansion and contraction. Right? And began to understand the universal law of nature at work, the manifestation of everything in the universe. He saw how each world system has different planes of existence, human plane and the heavenly planes and other planes of the inferior beings. But all these beings in all these planes are subject to the law of impermanence, the law of arising and passing away. Just as the whole world is subject to the law of arising and passing away, so are all sentient beings. They are also subject to this arising and passing away, going through the cycle of birth, aging, sickness, and death again and again and again and again. Beings arise in one plane, grow old, and eventually die and reborn again in another plane. The Buddha, with his mindfulness so powerful and concentration so deep on that night, saw how other beings reborn again and again in these 31 planes of existence, influenced by their past karma and the true nature of the universe, which are all subject to anicca, dukkha, and anatta. So which are all the doctrines, important doctrines or essential doctrines taught by the Buddha that all of us need to know and understand and share with others. In the third watch of the night, the Buddha to be penetrated the deepest truth of the Dharma. There's the Paticca Samuppada, or the law of dependent origination. And he saw how or why we have all this suffering is because we were born. And if we were not born, then we don't need to go through all this suffering. And he saw how birth was originated dependent on the past existence and the process of becoming, the Buddha called bhava. And bhava arises because of a clinging. We are not able to let go. We do not want to let go because of craving. And craving is because we are feeling, and feeling is due to contact between the sense organ and the sense objects. And because our sense organs arose because we have the mind and the body, which is dependent on the consciousness, and consciousness arises dependent on the karmic formation or the volition, sankhara, and all this sankhara arose or rise because of our ignorance of the true nature of our existence. The Buddha to be develop vipassana insight into the real characteristics of dukkha, the origin of dukkha, the cessation of dukkha, and the way to the cessation of dukkha. The Buddha to be realized the Four Noble Truths. He is now no more the Buddha to be. He is now no more the Bodhisattva. He is now the Buddha, the fully enlightened one. His mind totally liberated from ignorance. He sat there no longer a Bodhisattva, a seeker of enlightenment, but now a Sama Sambuddha. He had discovered a way to the final liberation of all beings from the cycle of birth, aging, sickness, and death. And the Buddha taught all this for 45 years, besides others, to other beings. Next, please. Precisely 2 months after his enlightenment, on the full moon day of July, the Buddha taught this first sermon of the Dharma Chakra, Pavatana Sutta, at the deer park in Isipatana, near to Benares, to the 5 ascetics. In this discourse, the Buddha expounded the middle path, the Noble Eightfold Path, to avoid the extremes of self-indulgence and self-mortification, and the Four Noble Truths. Not only were the 5 highly intelligent monks listening to the first sermon down that night, many other invisible beings such as the Devas and Brahmas were also listening to what the Buddha was teaching. At the end of the first sermon, the Dhamma Chakra Pavatana Sutta, the senior of the 5 disciples attained the first stage of sainthood, Sotapan, and 5 days later, when the Buddha taught the Anatta Lakkhana Sutta on the discourse of non-self characteristics, all the 5 monks attained arahantship. On the same day, a millionaire son, Yasa, came to see the Buddha, and the Buddha also taught him the Dharma. And immediately Yasa became a Sotapan, and later became an Arahant. And later 554 more of his friends also came to listen to Dharma taught by the Buddha, and all of them attained arahantship after listening to the Dharma. So only 2 months after the Buddha enlightenment, there were 60 disciples who had become Arahants. And the Buddha decided to send them as messengers of the Dharma to spread the Dharma. Next, please. And Buddha say, go forth for the good of the many, for the happiness of the many, our compassion for the world, for the benefit, for the good and happiness of gods and men. Preach the doctrine or preach the Dharma that is excellent in the beginning, excellent in the middle, excellent in the end, both in the spirit and the letter. So this was the clarion call by the Buddha to his disciples to spread the Dharma. And the Buddha was the first religious teacher to send his disciples to propagate the Dharma out of compassion for others. So initially there was 60 disciples sent out by the Buddha. With these 60 Arahants, the Buddha founded the order of the Sangha. And eventually the order was open to all, irrespective of caste, of class, rank, young or old. And once the monks are ready, they too are expected to go forth and preach the Dharma. And the Dharma soon spread far and wide. By the end of the 1st century BC to the 1st to 2nd century to the 1st and 2nd century AD, Buddhism have reached to many parts of the world, to China, to Sri Lanka, to Burma, to Central Asia, and certain parts of Europe and Southeast Asia. And lots of credits got to go to the Indo-Greek monks who were descendants of the conquering army led by Alexander the Great. I think you all know or read about this history about Alexander from Macedonia, coming all the way to conquer Central Asia and reach northwestern India. Then he stopped there and went back to Macedonia, but passed away on the way, died on the way back to Macedonia. All right. So many of his soldiers eventually somehow they became Buddhists. They take refuge in the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, and they are the one who started to spread the Buddhism in Northwest India, in the Central Asia, and all the way to Europe. Right? And one of the Indian king, next please, who has been a very instrumental in helping to spread the Dharma, I think all of us know, is the King Ashoka. Right? King Ashoka was of the Mauryan Empire, which is from 321 BCE before Common Era to 185 BCE. Right? So King Ashoka reigned from 268 BCE to 232 BCE. After succeeding his father, King Ashoka quickly conquered more lands, expanded the empire to almost the whole of Indian subcontinent, except certain parts in the south. And also plus those land northwest of India today, in Afghanistan, in Kashmir, and so on and so forth. And it is said that the size of his empire those days is about 1.5 times the size of India today. I just imagine it's very big, from Afghanistan to Bangladesh, and to the southern parts of India, except certain parts. So the whole empire covered about 5 million square feet. And King Ashoka only stopped his conquest after the Battle of Kalinga, in which more than 100,000 soldiers or people died. Some say about 250,000. So when he saw so much suffering, he felt very sad and decided to stop all these wars. Instead, he became a Buddhist and kept his precepts since. And he's also actively supported the Sangha to spread the Dharma to most of northern India, in south and central India. He also sent his son, Venerable Mahinda, to Sri Lanka to propagate the Dharma. He also sent his daughter, Venerable Sanghamita, to Sri Lanka, also to set up the order of nuns to spread the Dharma. She took a sapling of the sacred tree from Buddha Gaya and planted this tree at Anuradhapura, Sri Lanka. I think some of you know that in Subang Jaya Buddhist Association, we have 2 Bodhi trees. One was originally from the Buddha Gaya, and the other one was actually from Anuradhapura. All right. So the one at the one nearer to the new building was actually a sapling from the Bodhi tree from Anuradhapura. All right. Next, please. King Ashoka also sent Venerable Sona and Venerable Uttara to Suvarna Bhumi. Suvarna means gold, Bhumi land. So this is a land of gold. Where exactly it is Suvarna Bhumi? Some people may have different interpretation where exactly it is Suvarna Bhumi, but it's commonly referred to the Southeast Asian Peninsula, which include Lower Burma, and also include our peninsula, Malaysia or Malaya, the Malayan peninsula. All right. Eventually, a large part of Nusantara. Nusantara means covering Indonesia, many parts of Indonesia and Borneo and some parts in north of Peninsula Malaysia, right? So eventually, also covering Sumatra, Java, Peninsula Malaysia, and also all this became Buddhist land under the Sri Vijaya Empire. Next, please. Sri Vijaya Empire. Go back, please. No, go back. One slide before. Yeah. Right. Correct. This is not the one. This is the one. Oh, something wrong with the slide, I think. Okay, stop here. So the Sri Vijaya Empire is very huge. It's very huge. I think we learn history about the Sri Vijaya Empire, covering Peninsula Malaysia, Sumatra, Java, part of Borneo, and also all the way to part of Cambodia, and so on and so forth. All right. So Buddhism have reached all the way to all these areas. Next, please. And another of the very famous before the slide before. Yeah, thank you. Another of the very famous king or empire that helped to spread Buddhism is this King Kanishka of the Mauryan, of the what you call the Goshan Empire, which is after the Mauryan Empire. This Goshan Empire is somewhere between 40 CE to 176 CE. During this time, you can see that Buddhism has covered a big part of India. All the way, in fact, not only in India, but also all the way to today Uzbekistan, and also to the Ganges Valley, and all the way to today Tajikistan. Those days are called Pamir. They call Tajikistan today. All right, and in fact, eventually all the way to the various Central Asia states of Khotan, Kashgar, and Yakhang. All right, Yakhang today is called Xinjiang, Xinjiang of China. So his empire is in fact also very huge, very big. Contact between the Goshan Empire and at that time the Han Empire of China may have inspired the transmission of the Indian philosophy, ideas, in particular Buddhism to China. Next, please. It was said that during this King Kanishka rule, people, especially traders, can travel safely to Western India, from Northern India, and even all the way to Persia, to Middle East, and to Europe. And that's where the teachings of Buddha spread all over to all these places, except that somehow Buddhism did not take root very much in Europe, somehow, right? Many of the traders went to China to buy silk, tea, ceramics, etc., to trade with other things. Silk was a very much sought after item by people those days. That's why the routes they travel become known as silk routes. And along the silk routes, many people accepted Buddhism. Many of the Buddhist temples, ruins, cave temples, etc., today along the Silk Road, northwest of India to Central Asia to Western China, show that Buddhism was at one time flourishing in all these areas. When Buddhism first came to China, was not precisely known. But the scholarly consensus is that Buddhism first came to China in the 1st century CE during the Han Dynasty through missionaries from India. It was said that the Han Emperor Ming saw in a dream whom he thought was a god whose body had the brilliance of the sun and can fly in the air. So he consulted his minister and his scholars, and they told him that in India there is somebody who has attained the Tao and who is called the Buddha. All right. So the emperor was very keen to know more, and so he sent his envoy to India to inquire about these teachings of the Buddha, and they returned with many Buddhist scriptures to China on the backs of white horses. All right. So they take the horse to carry all these scriptures back all the way to China, and therefore, next please. In commemoration of this, the emperor built a temple in China in Luoyang, today called Henan, and this temple was called the White Horse Temple, right? Built in the year 68 Common Era, right? So it was believed that this White Horse Temple was the origin of Buddhism in China. It was believed. So from China, Buddhism went to Korea and then went to Japan. Like I said just now, during this Alexander Great conquest, also Buddhism spread all the way to Europe, except that it does not become very popular, did not become very popular in Europe. But many of the Greek soldiers adopted Buddhism and assimilate it with aspect of their own culture. And we call this a Greco Buddhism, just like we call Chinese Buddhism or Thai Buddhism or Burmese Buddhism and so on and so forth. So there's also a Greek Buddhism which developed between the 4th century before Common Era, all right? And they started to make, in fact, they are the one who start to make all those images of the Buddha. So before that, there was no Buddha images. And these Greek people are the first people who start to make all this Buddha rupa. That's why we can see that all those early, very early Buddha rupas, the face look like Greek people. By the first century BCE to the first or second century CE, for Common Era, in fact, to the third, fourth, fifth, and sixth century Common Era, Buddhism has reached to many parts of the world, to China, to Sri Lanka, to Burma, to Central Asia, to certain parts of Europe, and then to Southeast Asia. Many of these countries, including India, today Pakistan, and Afghanistan, Bangladesh, Central Asia, all this Tajikistan, Uzbekistan, and all the Tan, China, Korea, Japan, Myanmar, Thailand, Malaysia, Indonesia, they were once upon a time Buddhist countries. All right? They just say that during these times, the population of the Buddhist countries could be easily more than 50% of the world population. Right? India and China itself is already a big portion of the world population. If only most of the people in these Buddhist countries were well learned in the Dharma and truly practice the Dharma and have unwavering faith or saddha and help to propagate the Dharma, Buddhism today should have been a more popular religion of the world today. But sad to say, in reality, Buddhism, relative to other major world religions, has declined so much over the years. Next, please. Next, please. In the Pew Research, based in Washington, it was said that there are now about 488 million Buddhists worldwide, representing 7%, only 7% of the world total population. All right, and it was expected to decrease further to about only 5% in the year 2060. Why did this happen? Next, please. Why has Buddhism declined to that extent? The former countries of India, Afghanistan, Pakistan, Bangladesh, Central Asia, Malaysia, Indonesia are no more Buddhist countries. We only know that they were once Buddhist countries because we can still see the various Buddhist heritage in the forms of ruins. Next, please. These are some of the ruins that we can see. Like, for example, we have these ruins in Sanaf. Sanaf is a place where the Buddha gave his first sermon at the Deer Park, near to this Sanaf, Isipatana, near to Sanaf, right? And if you go to India now, you can still see a lot of this partly restored ruins of once upon a time a glorious history, a Buddhist history in the past. In fact, surprisingly, personally, I found it's a bit surprising that in the year 2004, when I was there with my family in a Buddhist pilgrimage, we went around to many places in India, and somehow the air was so polluted, and But the moment you walk into a Buddhist heritage, what they call the Buddhist place of pilgrimage, where the Buddha was born, where the Buddha was enlightened, where the Buddha taught the first sermon, where the Buddha passed away, and so on and so forth. Somehow, the moment you enter the place, there is a lot of energy. The air is somehow very fresh, and then you find that somehow, I don't know, I experienced so much energy at those other places. Those days, in the year 2004, I personally hardly do any meditation. But when we were there at this place called Sanaf, at the Deer Park, We were there for about, I think, an hour or so, and we spent about 20 hours doing some meditation there. And within that 20 minutes, I found the experience was so pleasant, so peaceful, so serene, so tranquil. In fact, my eyes was feeling, the sensation was so cooling, because I have dry eyes since my school days. I have this problem of dry eyes, and I have to use all those eye droppers. But on that day, my eyes were so cooling during that 20 minutes of meditation at this place. And at a deer park near to this place. And in fact, it was so soothing that when I came back, after I came back from this Buddhist pilgrimage, for quite a number of months, I don't need to use eye droppers anymore. Such was the experience that I have in this Buddhist places in India, which, sad to say, was in ruins for many years. All right, next please. This is in Sanchi. Sanchi is the place where you have a lot of also this Buddhist heritage, and one of the Sanchi is what they call famous because it has the oldest and the biggest what they call the stupa where they keep the remains of the Buddha. Next please. And this ancient Nalanda University, where it was mentioned by this the famous Tang Xuanzang, who went from China during the Tang Dynasty to India and all the way to Nalanda University to learn, all right, the Buddhism. So this is one of the part of Nalanda University that you can see now partly restored. Next, please. Then we have this Buddhist ruins in Tajikistan in Central Asia. Next, please. In Uzbekistan. Next, please. In I think you know this very famous the Parmigiana Buddha in Afghanistan, consisting of two big Buddha rupa built from the side of the hill. All right, one is 55 meter high, the other one is I think 35 meter high, and both damaged by the some of those people in Afghanistan a few years ago. Next, please. Also in Donghuang, I think one place that we all should go to visit. They consist of many of those heritage of the Buddha. This is more 1,000 Buddha caves in Donghuang. All right, a manifestation, a testimony of the what you call the glorious history of Buddhism in the past. Next, please. And back home here in what you call the Pujang Valley in Kedah, which is once upon a time a flourishing Hindu, Buddhist, Malay kingdom. All right, from the 1st to 12th century Common Era. Next, please. Pujang Valley, the time stretched possibly as early as the year 110. It's the oldest of Southeast Asia, even before Angkor Wat, even before Sri Vijaya, even before Majapahit, even before the Borobudur, and of course before the Malacca Sultanate, 15th century. Next, please. And you go to Indonesia, you also can see a lot of those Buddhist heritage. In fact, there are a lot more there in Indonesia. All right, this is in Muara Jambi, which I recommend all of you to go if you can make it one day. It's still in the process of restoration by the Indonesian government. The present Indonesian government took a lot of efforts to try to restore back all this their heritage in Indonesia. In fact, when I was there, led by this brother Lokang Saikai to have a conference, to attend a conference over there, I was so surprised to see that the people over there, they're so proud of their heritage. In fact, we spoke to many of those people there, those professors, the government people, those things. They told us they are actually very proud of their own heritage. They know that the ancestors once upon a time were either Hindu or Buddhist, and they are so proud of that. You can see all these things in Indonesia, in Muara Jambi, in Palembang, and also next place. And I think this one you're very familiar in Borobudur, one of the very big Buddhist complex. All right, in in what you call in Indonesia. Okay, next please. So why has Buddhism declined? Once a glorious what they call civilization, why has Buddhism declined in India, in South Asia, and also in other parts of the world? Right? Next please. In India, Buddhism underwent or have undergone very two extensive devastation or destructions in history. And the first was by the white Hongs. The white Hongs, those nomadic tribes who were from somewhere from Mongolia, from the Altai mountain, I think. You know, those days in northwest of China, even if you study history, those days there are many nomadic tribes. That's why eventually the Chinese, the Shi Huangdi built the Great Wall of China to try to prevent those nomadic tribes to keep on coming inside to attack them, the Han Chinese. All right. So west of the Great Wall of China, there were many of these tribes in northwest China and all the way to Central Asia. We have all those Mongolian, you have all those Xiongnu, Turkish people, and so on and so forth. Right? So white Hongs are from a place in Mongolia, and they are very good fighter. They're very good fighter. You see the horse that they have are very powerful horses, which you can't find in China because Central Asia produce the best horses. So they can ride in the horse, ride in the horses very fast, and they can shoot arrow also very accurate. You know? So they conquer the India in 500 about 500 AD, right? They conquer northwest India, Gandhara, Kashmir, but they along the way they plunder every town, and somehow they didn't like the Buddhists, so they prosecuted the Buddhists, they burned the temples, burned the monasteries, all right, killed the Buddhist monks, and the white Hongs ruled northwestern India for about 30 years. After that, somehow Buddhism managed to pick up again under the patronage of all those new rulers in India, the Pala kings rebuilt again Buddhism in India. And in fact, the Pala kings, the Pala kings were great supporters of Buddhism. They actually contributed a lot to the rebuilding of all those monasteries. So during this period, the monasteries underwent transformation from being not just a monastic center, but also to become large institutions. They call Mahavihara. All right, Mahavihara dedicated to learning of the Dharma, Buddhism, and also to order the study of Buddhism. All right. So this Mahavihara, or huge temples such as Nalanda, Vikramasila in Magadha. It was said that they have many students in the Vihara, Mahavihara. In fact, when this Tang Xuanzang, when this Xuanzang went to India, went to this Nalanda, Xuanzang observed in his records that there are, in fact, as many as 10,000 students in Nalanda. So they're very huge. And they were well supported by the kings, by the nobles, by the rich people, and also by the ordinary people, making these Mahaviharas very famous and very prosperous. But this is a problem. So when the temple becomes too rich, it becomes a problem, because such conditions undermine the high ideals of renunciation and simplicity of life expected of the members of the Sangha. So the monks at that time slowly became accustomed to easy life, devoted to academic pursuits and religious rituals, and relaxed in their moral discipline to accommodate the people. All right. So some monks even, it was said that some monks even go around writing in the sedan chairs, and such lifestyle contributed to the decline of the order, to weakening of the observance of the Vinaya, and to the corresponding and eventual erosion of the lay people faith in the Sangha. So the Dharma originally taught by the Buddha was also not given enough focus, whereas the Dharma not taught by the Buddha was given more focus. So the people gradually accepted various other teaching not taught by the Buddha. They also accepted various deities which are not in Buddhism. They accept all these deities as a Bodhisattva, causing many ordinary Buddhists to be more and more confused. And Buddhism had become so weak by these perverted forms of practice that when this another round of invasion of India by this Turkish by these invaders of a Turkish origin, right? When they attack India, they destroy all these Mahaviharas and they kill thousands and thousands of Buddhist monks during the 12th to 13th century AD. That it became practically impossible to revive Buddhism in India again, because the lay people themselves are not learned in the true teaching, the real teaching, the original teaching of the Buddha, right? And when this happened, when thousands of monks were killed, burned alive or beheaded, and the University of Nalanda was completely burned down, so on and so forth. And only a handful of the survivors, the monks, escaped to Nepal, Myanmar, and Tibet. And Buddhism was almost completely disappeared because the ordinary Buddhists, they hardly know what the real Dharma is all about. So Buddhism was almost completely disappeared from the land where the Buddha was born. And the Dharma was almost completely wiped off from India until the discovery of the various places of Buddhist pilgrimages by the British archaeological surveyor of Indian archaeology, Sir Alexander Cunningham, who with all the tribal records, in fact, he was referring to all the records by this Chinese pilgrim Fa Xiang and also Xuan Zhang, leading to discovery of all this Kusinara, Sankasya, Savatthi, Nalanda, Kosambi, and so on and so forth. All right. So it was only during this Dr. Ambedkar, who was born as an untouchable, a low caste of the Indian caste system, but he rose to become a cabinet minister. When India gained independence in 1947, he led many Indians from the low caste to embrace Buddhism. And today, at least they have a few million Buddhists now in India. All right. Buddhism has declined significantly in Gandhara, Pakistan, Afghanistan, Central Asia, Indonesia, and so on and so forth. Many of the early Buddhists of Nusantara, which include Peninsula Malaysia, Indonesia, who also converted to other religions. So today we can only see ruins in many of these one-time Buddhist countries. So what is the reason of this decline? Why has Buddhism almost practically wiped off in so many of these former Buddhist countries? Why did Buddhists convert to other religions? The reasons hundreds of years ago and today, I think are quite similar. There have many reports written by many Buddhists on this issue. There have been many seminars and conferences on this issue. And some of the conclusions of the seminars and conferences, there has been some strategies and some good effort by some Buddhists to help rejuvenate and revitalize the Buddhist missionary mission again. But more effort are urgently needed from the Buddhist community themselves. Next, please. Because one of the reason of the decline of Buddhism over the years after the Buddha passing away into Parinibbana is there has been too much adulteration of the original Dharma, the pristine Dharma. And this led to the decline of right understanding of the Buddha Dharma. Buddha Dharma means the Dharma taught by the Buddha. All right. So there's a lack, the decline of the right understanding of the Dharma as taught by the Buddha, and therefore leading to a decline in saddha, the saddha of faith, faith with wisdom, all right, leading to the decline of the Buddha Sasana. Next, please. And faith is very important because lack of faith, a person cannot progress very much. The Buddha say, an irreverent and undifferential bhikkhu devoid of faith is not capable of achieving growth, progress, and maturity in this Dharma and in this discipline. The Buddha say in Anguttara Nikaya 5.10 that faith is so important because without faith you cannot actually grow and progress and mature in the Dharma. Next, please. The Buddha taught for 45 years, and during these 45 years, the Buddha taught many things to many people in different places and different occasions and reasons. And 2 months after Parinibbana of the Buddha, 500 of his Arahant disciples met in a council called the First Council, recollect and compile what they have learned from Buddha in the Sutta Pitaka and Vinaya Pitaka. So the teachings of the Buddha or the Buddha Dharma are in the Sutta and the Vinaya, arranged in a few collections called the Nikayas. All right, we have the Tikka Nikaya, Majjhima Nikaya, Samyutta Nikaya, Anguttara Nikaya, and Kuttaka Nikaya. And the Buddha say, when I'm gone, next please, sorry, next please. And in the Vinaya Pitaka, we have all these books also, different books in the Vinaya Pitaka. Next please. Oh, sorry, back please. So the Buddha said that when I'm gone, the Sutta Vinaya shall be your teacher. So it's important for all of us as the disciples of the Buddha to study the Sutta and the Vinaya. The Buddha said that after his passing away, our teacher should be the Sutta and the Vinaya. But the devotees, instead of learning the Sutta Vinaya, many today, instead of learning the Sutta and the Vinaya, went everywhere looking for teachers, still looking for other teachers. All right. Next, please. Over the years after Buddha Parinibbana, there have been so many scholars, monks, and lay people who themselves wrote many books on Buddhism. But one thing very strange, they hardly quote from which sutta they cross-reference when they wrote all these books. So much so that for most beginners, they may not be very sure whether what they are reading or what we are reading was actually the Buddha teaching or just the personal opinion of the writer. Many got very confused, and it's not very helpful to develop their saddha or the faith. Hence, it's good to learn Buddhism by regularly cross-referencing with the sutta in Nikaya to develop our right understanding and saddha. One of the reasons why Buddhist population have declined all these years is because of lack of saddha and lack of the right understanding of the Dharma as taught by the Buddha. Next, please. And this one before. Oh, sorry. Okay. And this lack of understanding in a doctrine amongst many devotees also because of lack of understanding of what they do in the devotional practice in the daily cultivation lead to performing of many of the devotional practices merely as rites and rituals. All right. I think you understand what is the meaning of rites and rituals. We heard about this many times in the SJBA. that we should not observe rites and rituals. Just to give you an example, I think probably you may have heard before. There was once upon a time a monk, the abbot, the chief monk of the temple, who were giving very good Dharma talks, and many of his disciples were listening or like to go to the temple to listen to these Dharma talks by the monk, by the abbot. Right? And at the temple there was a very beautiful cat, very loving cat. And when the abbot was giving Dharma talks, this cat was moved around the devotees, and the devotees, many of them, they like this cat very much. They would caress the cat, give some attention to the cat, and not giving much attention to listening to the Dharma. So the chief abbot decided that, okay, in that case, in future, he asked his attendant before he started to give Dharma talk, this cat, take a cage and put the cat cap inside the cage before he started the Dharma talk, so that everybody can listen attentively to the Dharma. This go on for many years, and one day the abbot passed away. All right, and a new abbot came over, also will give a good Dharma talk. And every time before he give Dharma talk, the chief attendant will put the cat inside the cage, right? So that everybody will listen to the talk attentively. And one day, after a few years, even the chief attendant also passed away, and a new attendant came over, was appointed from the devotees. There's a new attendant. So just before the abbot give Dharma talk, this new attendant doesn't understand why in the past the abbot would ask the former abbot would ask the cat to be kept in the cage. So he started desperately looking for a cage. So looking for a cat. So he got a cat and then took a cat and put in a cage before he started the Dharma talk. All right. So the rest of the devotees also didn't know what was the intention of the former abbot, why they need to put a cat into the cage before they started the Dharma talk. Right. So after the cat passed away, they all become very desperate. They're going to look for another cat to put the cat into the cage before the new abbot started this Dharma talk. This is called doing something again and again and again without understanding. We call this riches. We call this riches. So if we come to the temple, we come to Vihara to bow to the Buddha, to recite the taking of the 3 refuges and 5 precepts, to recite all this chanting of the 28 Buddhas. If you know and understand what you are doing, what you are chanting, you are cultivating to strengthen your sattva, your faith for your spiritual development. If you don't know and you don't understand what you are doing, then you are just taking part in rites and rituals. All right. So it's important for everyone to know and to understand what we are doing and what we are chanting to further strengthen our sattva, to cultivate our spiritual practices. Important also to practice the Buddhist way of life, dana, sila, and bhavana. Right. So our respect for the Buddha and also our compassion for others. A Buddhist worthy to be a worthy disciples of the Buddha should follow the Buddha clarion call to go forth and preach the Dharma. Preaching Dharma is not just the job of the monks and the devotees. Next, please. All of us, lay people, upasaka, upasika, laymen, laywomen, also have the duty to help to preach the Dharma, just like Chitta and Hataka and so on and so forth, for the good benefit and happiness of the many. The Buddha say, bhikkhus, a male follower endowed with faith, rightly aspiring, should aspire thus. May I become like Chitta, the householder, and Hataka of Alawi. This is a standard and the criterion for my male disciples. There is Chitta, the householder, and Hataka of Alawi. The story of Chitta shows us that it is not the job of lay people to just learn the Dharma, to keep the precepts and support the Sangha. So while the Buddha was highly praised, the Anatta Pindaka, for being so generous, doing so much dana, the Buddha actually reserved the highest praise for Chitta and Hatavi because they were both very skillful and diligent at giving something more precious than material things. That's a Dharma. Just a quick one to finish this talk. Chitta was the model of the Buddhist layman that the Buddha urged others to emulate. Chitta was actually a rich businessman, a landowner in a town called Machikasanta near Savatthi. He heard the Dharma for the first time from Venerable Mahanama, after which he offered a park he owned to the Sangha, and on the land he built a very spacious monastery. After that, any monks or nuns coming to Machikasanta who always assured of a warm welcome and adequate support. So he did a lot of dana, all right? But the Buddha is considered Chitta to be the most learned and lucid of all the lay Dharma devotees, because after accepting the Dharma, he explained it to the other citizens of the town, converting many of them to the Dharma. On one occasion, he took all these new converts to see the Buddha, and the discourse to and by Chitta indicated his profound grasp of the most aspect of the Dharma, and indeed he was, before he passed away, he has attained the stage of Anagami, a non-returner. All right. So just a quick story. Once upon a time, the group of monks in the pavilion in monastery that Chitta had built was discussing the Dharma. Some of the monks were saying that it is a sense object that fattens the mind, while others were suggesting that the sense organs that cause the problems. So Chitta arrived at the monastery, and when he saw the monks discussing, he asked what they were discussing, and they told him, Chitta, and told him all those things that they were discussing. So Chitta said, sirs, venerable sirs, these two things, sense objects and sense organs, are different. I shall use a simile. Suppose a black ox and a white ox were tied together with a rope. Now, would it be right to say that the black ox was the fetter of the white ox, or the white ox was the fetter of the black ox? Who is the fetter of one another? And the monk says, certainly not. The black ox is not the fetter of the white ox. It's not chained by the white ox, or the white ox is changed by the black ox. They were both changed or tied together by the rope. So Chitta say, venerable sirs, in the same way, the eye is not the fetter of the visual objects, nor are the visual objects the fetter of the eyes, but rather the desire that arises from the meeting of the two, that is the fetter. So in the same way, there's the other sense organs and the sense objects. So the monks were so delighted by Chitta, his understanding of the Dharma, in also his skill in explaining the Dharma. So these are some of the examples of how Chitta helped in propagating the Dharma. All right. So other disciples like Hatha also, they're good, but then no time I won't go into that. But if all of us can be like Chitta or Hataka or others, what they call the assembly disciples of the Buddha, lay disciples of the Buddha, to go and spread the Dharma in the spirit and also in the letter. Today, if all of us can do that, Dharma, Buddhism can once again flourish. Just like I said in the beginning of the talk, you can help to share the Dharma with others by taking copies of Dharma books for free distribution. You can volunteer to help organize or support in the various Dharma programs or whatever services give the temple so that we can continue with the Dharma program. All right. We can help to clean the vihara, for example, cook for others, to create the condition conducive for others to learn the Dharma. If you can teach, you can also volunteer as teachers in the Sunday school, and so on and so forth. Over all these years, our Sunday school have taught thousands and thousands of children in around Subang Jaya. Right? So you can also spread the Dharma in a spirit through action and compassion, like helping the poor, helping the sick, the dying, the bereaved, and the inmates of the homes of the needy, and so on and so forth. So just like what the Buddha has done during his 45 years of ministry. And this is in a way, one way or another, follow the path the Buddha can call to go forth and preach the Dharma, both in the spirit and in the letter. So may all of you be worthy disciples of the Buddha and be worthy heir of the Dharma. May all of you be well and happy always. May the Buddha Sasana flourish. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Sape satta papantu sukhitata.
Thank you very much, Brother Jim, for that enlightening talk. Title, Go Forth, Preach the Dharma. Thank you for sharing the Dharma together with your personal experience. Brothers and sisters in the Dharma, it's question and answers time. You may post the questions in the comments box. As mentioned earlier, we may not be able to answer all your questions due to time constraint. All right, do we have the first question, please? All right, okay. Brother Jim, there are some people who say that lay people should focus their role to support the monks in food, robes, medicines, and shelters, and leave the teachings of the Dharma to the monks or nuns. What do you think about this statement?
Yeah, thank you, Brother Chuan. Like I've shared just now, the Buddha goal was to develop a community of disciples, monastic and lay devotees, who were well educated in the Dharma and who practiced it fully and who taught it and learned it from one another and also to share it with one another. So I'm not too sure why some people have that kind of opinion that it is a job of the monks and nuns only to practice and teach the Dharma, while the role of the lay people, the laymen and laywomen, is to keep the precepts and support the monks and nuns by providing them with their needs. All right, this is, as you can see from the examples I give just now. In fact, so sorry, not enough time. Otherwise, I'll give you a few more examples of the lay people during the Buddha time who was highly praised by the Buddha, highly encouraged by the Buddha to go forth to preach the Dharma in the spirit and in the letter, so that other people can also benefit from the Dharma. So all of us must strive to be worthy disciples of the Buddha and worthy heir of the Dharma, and hence our mission to learn and practice the Dharma and to share the Dharma with others so that they also can learn, practice and realize the Dharma.
Right. Thank you for the answer. I hope it explains well in relation to the talk given earlier. All right, can I have the next question, please? Here you are. You gave the example of Chitta and Hataka as laymen highly praised by the Buddha for skillfully propagating the Dharma. Is there any example of lay women who were also highly praised by the Buddha for helping to propagate the Dharma?
Oh yes. In fact, due to lack of time just now, because of time constraint, I'm not able to give more examples. But of course, the conventional usage of the word man or layman will definitely include woman or lay woman or lady as well. But the Buddha himself did say in the Anguttara Nikaya, the Buddha say a female follower endowed with faith should also aspire thus. May I become like the female followers, Kuchutara and Vedukantaki, Nandamata. This is a standard and criterion for female lay disciples. All right, there is to be like the female lay devotees, followers of Kuchutara, and also this Vedukantaki. Kuchutara was actually a servant to the queen of Kosambi that time. But the queen was not able to listen or was unable to go to listen to the Dharma as taught by the Buddha. So she sent this Kuchutara who went instead. But this Kuchutara was a very intelligent, highly intelligent lady. She was very outstanding. And she not only listened and understand very fast, she can also remember. She memorized the teachings of the Buddha, and she went back and shared this with the queen and with many of the ladies and for the other followers. All right, it just say 500 ladies in waiting. Of course, the language of the people at that time, 500 means many. Just like 84,000 means many, 84,000. All right. So there are many of these ladies also listening to the Dharma as shared by this Kuchutara. And all of them, because of the very skillful explanation by this Kuchutara, all of them who listen to the Dharma from this Kuchutara themselves also reach the first stage of enlightenment, Sotapan. All right. So very skillful. So the Buddha called this Kuchutara what they call the most outstanding lay female disciples of the Buddha. Right? And of course, there are other examples as well. Okay.
All right. Thank you very much.
Ladies and all the ladies and men also, please note that this is what the Buddha said. The Buddha actually encouraged all of us. If we are not ready to what they call renounce our householder way of life, we, even though we live as householders, as laymen, as upasaka, and as upasika, we still have a very important role to play. And the Buddha said that all of us should go forth after learning the Dharma, to go forth to preach the Dharma, both in the letter and in the spirit, not with words but with action as well, compassionate action.
All right. Thank you. Can I have the last questions due to time constraint? From Akuna Matata. What is the strategy as agreed to elevate Buddhism again? What is the great problem? Why Buddhism going down the hill? As in shown in history, no religion will forever be dominant religion in the world. Will Buddhism again be dominant in years to come? Any predictions in the sutta? Thank you.
1 minute, sorry, something wrong on my computer here. I couldn't see the question. 1 minute.
All right, I think it's like, think we do break up the question. All right, I think it would be good to, well, let me see. No religion will forever dominant. Will Buddhism again be dominant in years to come? Any predictions in the sutta?
Oh, okay. Sorry, just now because a lot of the advertisement come up in my my laptop, blocking the view of the question. You say that Buddhism again
will it be dominant again in years to come? Will it arise again?
Well, I think just now we also talk about what the Buddha saw, or Buddha Topi saw during his the night of his enlightenment. That everything arises and passes away. You know, the whole universe arises and passes away. The whole world system arises and passes away. People will also arise and pass away. And just like all this, the teaching of the Buddha also will arise and pass away. You know, and one day when the teachings of the Buddha have totally disappeared, a new Buddha will come. You know, the Maitreya Buddha will come, and then again will teach the Dharma. All right. So all these things are all subject to the law of impermanence arising and passing away. So one day when the Buddhism is totally disappear, then a new Buddha will come, the Maitreya Buddha will come to teach the Dharma, and maybe one day the Buddhism will flourish again in the world. You know? And of course, this cycle of impermanence arising and passing away will again happen. This is the nature of the world.
Okay. Very important, but as lay people, what are the things that we can do? What is the strategy that we can do something to elevate Buddhism?
Actually, there are a lot of strategy being discussed in the various seminars and conferences. All right. Of course, there are some of the things which Brother Chuan knows. Certain, in fact, 2 slides I've taken up from this, from this what they call from this talk, because I was told that some of the things are a bit sensitive, so we will take it up. But of course, if the Buddhists can get together, can work together, and learn the Dharma together, practice the Dharma together, in the spirit and in the letter. They mean only not just through words, but through action. Action in compassion, just like the Buddha have done so. All right. The Buddha during his 45 years of ministry have helped a lot of poor people, sick people, dying people. You know. So these are the compassionate action that actually attract many people to various religions, are not only in Buddhism, because actually compassionate work, welfare work, actually somehow many people have the heart for that. All right. So we don't really just teach we also show by example that Buddhism is a religion of what they call loving kindness and compassion, as well as wisdom. So if we do all these things together, if people are passionate and sincere in doing all these things together, many people will once again come to Buddhism, and Buddhism have the opportunity to flourish again. Okay.
Thank you very much. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Well, the message to all of us here after listening to this Dharma sharing is that we have to do our part, understand the teachings on compassion, and listening to the voices of those in need. Thank you very much, Brother Jim, with those enlightening answers. Please help me to thank the speaker, Brother Jim. Brothers and sisters in the Dharma, this morning we have all participated in the Sunday Buddha Puja service, listening to the Dharma, sharing, and we have a good discussion during the Q&As. With the merits accrued, let us dedicate the merits to all our departed relatives, family and friends, and all beings, and may they rejoice to the merits. During this COVID-19 pandemic, many are being affected. May those being affected by the COVID-19 to have a speedy recovery, free from suffering, be well and happy. Transference of merits. Akasata cha bummata devanaga mahedika punyantang anumoditva Chirang rakantu loka sasanang, chirang rakantu desanang, chirang rakantu mang parang. Etavata cha amhehi, sambatang punya sampadang, sabbe deva sabbe sata, Sabbe bhuta anumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya. Merits, transfer merits to the departed relatives. Idang me nyatinang hotu sukita hontu nyatayo. Idang me nyatinang hotu sukita hontu nyatayo. Idang me nyatinang hotu sukita hontu nyatayo. Sharing your merits. Imang no punya bagang Mata pitunancha, acharyanancha, sabasatanancha, sabamitanancha, sabanyatinancha, sababetanancha, sabadevatanancha, bhajema. Imang no punya bagang Sabba satanang dema, sabbe sata sukita hontu. Aspiration. Imina punya kamena, mame bala samagamo, satang samagamo hotu, yava nibbana patiya. Idang me punya asavakaya vahang hotu. Idang me punyang nibbanasa pachayo hotu. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Before we end, brothers and sisters in the Dhamma, let us pay homage to the Triple Gem. Buddhang pujemi, Dhammang pujemi, Sanghang pujemi. Sukhi hontu. To all the devotees, sadhu to those who had participated in our Buddha Puja. the Dharma Sharing to the end of the session with the dedications of merits. You may continue to express your thanks to the speaker, Brother Chim, and the online team. We have come to the end of this 48th online Sunday Buddha Puja service. Please visit us again next Sunday, June 20th. May you and family be safe, well and happy, and peaceful always. During this COVID-19 pandemic, to stay safe is to stay home. Suki Hontu and goodbye. Sabbe Sata Sukita Hontu.
Sa se